Right then, people, well, we did a poll on our lads server about, hey, you know what, let's get our community to decide a third topic. Sean decided, like, A, who do we, new people to Death Battle? And I suggested, like, topics that might be dying, and mate chose something random. Eventually, the poll won with people selecting Newcomers to Death Battle, which, let's be real here, Death Battle's been going on for many years. It's gained new people who are interested. I mean, Death Battle tackles many genres and franchises, so it's not a surprise they will eventually get certain people. But we got another guest for this topic. You may know him as the Edge Boy Show. Say hello to Fireball.
Hey!
Yeah, so we have actually, funny enough, tackled this topic in the past, really. And I think this is during the first ever Mate and Sean era of Lads Discuss Death Battle 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think we talked about episodes we would introduce people to, but ever since 2024, an episode's already done that for us.
Yeah, so let's, of course, before we tackle that topic again, though, I mean, we've got to talk about, how we were introduced to Death Battle, which, we've tackled in the past, but hey, it's been years since we're doing this series, so newcomers to our channel might want to know how we got introduced to Death Battle. And let's be real, verse topics is nothing new to verse, well, just people interested in, like, crossovers and just who would win. I mean, hell, people to this day still debate who would win between Batman and Superman. Spoilers, Superman. So it was like, okay, and so, but Death Battle was like kind of seen as the old man of, like, debates with like crossover characters. And for me, my first Death Battle was Deadpool versus Deathstroke, which is not surprising. I like both their comic books, and I'm a big fan of Deathstroke and Deadpool. It definitely helps that they both gained a movie. One was clearly better than the other. And yeah, it was, to this day, still holds up really well. Obviously, visually, it's not really appealing, I will admit. It's definitely shown its age visually, but I still think it's an all-time good round episode with a really fun analysis and just generally really cool fights. And plus, I still can't get over the behind-the-scenes story that the freaking dance scene was animated while Torian was drunk. Like, just, yes.
like blacked out drunk, like he did not remember doing it.
Like, I feel as though that's made that episode one of my favorites of season 2. Like, just, yeah, it's a really good one. Mate, you have a season 1 episode that you have a story about your season 1 episode.
Yeah, so I might be firing shots at a versus show that doesn't exist anymore. So, when I was younger, I kind of got into like, the whole Mario versus Sonic history, and I started thinking to myself, who would actually win between these two? And from everything I knew, I thought, oh, Sonic, definitely. And I would bring it up with my friends and have that whole discussion. I looked it up on YouTube, found a versus show by Machinima just called Versus, where it was like two people like talking about the characters and then being like, audience, who would win? But they would just basically be like, yeah, here's what they have. Merchandise, merchandise, merchandise. Okay, who wins? And I'm like, what, really? Then one day when I was like looking up stuff, I found Death Battle Mario vs. Sonic. I was like, huh, what's this? And I saw like, oh my god, they've got like analysis on the characters, like, who they are, what they've got, what they've accomplished, and there's actually an animation of the two fighting. This is awesome. And then the death happened, and I was like, Jesus Christ!
It almost got a youch. Oh no, it wasn't a youch because you put it lower. We were close, Sean. We were close to greatness. I've already done this joke.
Anyway, and then they had like an explanation at the end. I was like, you know what? I am sold on this show. Like, I want to watch more of this. And yeah, that's how I got into Death Battle. I'm trying to remember exactly what year. I think the most recent episode announced would be Chief versus Doom Guy at the time.
Oh, damn, so you've discovered it even older than me. I thought you were, like, similar to me. You discovered it around Season 2. I will admit, when it came...
Please, I remember the waiting period for Season 2 to start.
Fair enough. You're more of a veteran than I am. Well then, Sean, you have a Season 1 episode that was your first as well, don't you?
So I was history, and I like shows like Deadliest War. One day, it's video in the algorithm. Discord, why are you being a piece of shit?
You were mentioning Deadliest Warrior. It's like, not talk of Deadliest Warrior. Season 3 was garbage.
But, yeah, Kratos vs. Spawn was my first episode. I literally saw it in my recommended after watching the top 10 Kratos moments, and I really liked what they did with it, and I stuck with it. I had to play a lot of catch-up, though, because I was in high school when I first found the show. I caught up around... It was Epion versus Tiger Zord, I think, it was when I was caught up.
Oh, damn, so similar to me, you were also Season 2. John, I think you're
There's a lot of
out.
good episodes, but Kratos vs. Spawn was my first, and
That's right. Yeah, you're good now, I can hear you, but just before there was like a long silence.
John, you don't have to smack Discord. Bill Cipher already won.
Will we ever get tired of that joke? Answer, no, moving along. So, I mean, yeah, Kratos versus... Oh. We lost Sean permanently. There he is.
Anyway, yes, Kratos vs. Spawn was my first episode. From a recommended video of another one, and I quite like what they did with it since I started watching the show.
Do you remember when the YouTube algorithm was actually kind of cool and showed you really cool fan work? The good days. Now I just get loads of Star Wars AI slop. Yay.
AI.
Hooray for slop.
Do you know how not? Do you know it's actually gotten to a point now? Funny enough, I'm doing a Thanos. I used the YouTube's AI to answer whether this is an AI video or not. I used the AI to confirm it's an AI. It's like, it's just so sad that I've gotten to that point now where I have to always be like, is this an AI video? No, it is not AI. Good. But yeah, moving away from that though, so Fireball, I guess. So, what was your introduction into the Battles of Death?
Yeah, so my first death battle was actually Vegeta vs. Shadow, another Season 1 episode.
Did you discover that around the Season 1 era when it was still new, or did you discover that as around like Season 2 or 3?
I found it when, I believe when Goku vs. Superman was announced around the time.
2 Season 2 veterans and 2 Season 1s.
So I've been in this the longest.
Hold on, I'm only just now realising 2 British people. One is who discovered it around Season 2, one around Season 1. 2 Americans discovered it around Season 2, and 1 from Season 1. That's just funny to me. I don't know why I'm focusing so much on that.
Hooray for
Yeah,
clarifications.
Yeah, this was back when I was the type of person to think that if Vegeta doesn't win, they're not real DBZ fans. And I probably would have avoided them.
Oh no, you were one of those fans.
Yes, I was one of those, yeah.
Man, it
Thankfully-
was 15 years ago.
Thankfully, Vegeta did win, but it took a bit for me to stick around. So, that death battle was pretty much the butterfly effect of my internet life. I pretty much wouldn't have been a part of this community. I wouldn't have found many reactions to it. Hell, I probably wouldn't have been here if Vegeta had lost.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's not surprising, because a lot of people who did go into watching Death Battle were obviously rooting for their character. I mean, it makes sense, really. Like, I can't imagine, like, you know, anyone who's a Halo fan, not a Doom fan, is rooting for the Doom guy. Yeah, to be fair, like, you know, Vegeta vs. Shadow, it's not surprising, really. Sonic and Dragon Ball were really popular, especially at that time. So it's not surprising, really. So, yeah, so we all had, like, interesting introductions to a series, and there's a theme with it. It's curiosity with a lot of us. Like, we're into these sort of characters, so obviously going on YouTube, we'll probably watch a lot of their videos. Like, I feel like during a lot of our childhoods, like, either when we watched a movie or TV show, we would go onto YouTube to re-watch those scenes again because it's like, no, that scene was so good, but I can't watch it again until it's out again on DVD or something like that. So we would go on YouTube to try and find it. And I think because of that, because YouTube's algorithm was a lot more tolerable back then, it just led us to Death Battle, which I've always had this I'm not sure if this is a hot take or not. If Death Battle was to start today, I don't think the algorithm would be so generous to it.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah, probably not.
Like, the algorithm is so harsh these days. Unless you're like doing a Mr. Beast type of thumbnail and video and stuff like that, YouTube's not that interested. Like, even if you specify your criteria of what you like, for some reason they'll still suggest to you those type of videos, which is just like, I've said I'm not a fan of these. Why is this still being recommended to me?
Because he said Mr.
To
Beast.
this day, I have not watched a single video of his.
I will say, I don't think Mr. Beast himself is bad.
And I plan to keep that going.
Like, himself, I don't think he's bad. He just, you know, he does collabs with some questionable people. It's just like, yeah, it's, you know, as far as I hear, people say Mr. Beast is actually quite a cool guy. It's just, you know, where he invests in is a bit questionable.
Yeah, I'm now imagining Wiz or Boopstick doing the basic Beast thumbnail thing that he usually does.
just Boomstick doing the Mr. Beast pose. Mr. Beast!
That sounds so cursed.
Oh god, no. So, okay, so, but that aside, it's like, right, so, trying to think of a lot of newcomers back then, I think were pretty much similar to us, where, you know, they, like, with May, he's into Sonic, so obviously he would go into YouTube to look up a lot of Sonic stuff, so it wouldn't be surprising that eventually YouTube's like, hey, there's a Sonic episode where he tackles, like, Mario, or like, versus Mario. So it's like, so yeah, YouTube always had a way back then where when you watch a video, I mean, YouTube algorithm still works this way, like, you know, if you watch, like, zombie videos or horror movies, it will try and send you videos similar to that. You know,
Yeah.
But obviously in this day and age now, I don't know why I said it like that. I think the algorithm, it does recommend certain videos, but there'll be times like, oh, I'm really into Amnesia the Bunker, and then it will recommend me like a video that's called Amnesia like horror game, and it's some weird like bootleg version of a game. It's like, I mean, yeah, I suppose it has Amnesia in the name, but it's not my sort of, it doesn't look that well made. You know, it's that sort of thing. So it's like, or like, I'm into dinosaur horror games, or, you know, I'm trying to be. There's not that many out there. So YouTube would recommend me dinosaur games, and some of them are kid friendly, some of them are horror themed. I was like, okay, it's not too out there, but I feel as though YouTube's algorithm back then was, oh, you looked up Sonic, here's all the Sonic videos we can find out there. So it's like Death Battle and this and that. Like, hell, alongside Death Battle, I've got a lot of Cartoon Fight Club episodes sent my way. I've got loads of those shows. That's how I discovered, like, Bat in the Sun and stuff like that. Like, now in these day and age, you type in verse and you'll either get, like, YouTube Shorts, or you'll get those... okay, I don't want to be too harsh. I really hate those short videos on YouTube where it's that annoying bopping sort of, like, air-bursting music, and it just briefly goes over the categories on who wins. That is such a boring versus video.
Yeah.
But sadly, those are like the sort of.
I mean, those ones that just show an category, then cut to whoever takes it, while the music's like, or something like that.
I hate those videos because one, sometimes they're like airbursts. I'm like, oh, do you know what? I'm really curious about who would win between Kratos and SpongeBob. But you know what? I'm going deaf while listening. So it's like, yeah, YouTube's algorithm now don't try and advertise like those videos anymore. It's either short videos or like, oh, someone's looking specifically for Death Battle. So unless, like, you know, a lot of people are actually searching the actual Death Battle themselves, most people aren't checking them out. Except during, you know, a few years later, we've got reactors. Reactors were becoming a big thing in the game, and that's why I started seeing more the newcomer aspect, because, you know, Death Battle was around before reactors, really. At least a lot before reacting videos sort of became mainstream, I guess we'll say.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, like, I mean, the most famous one, who's a bit controversial now, is Tyro Magnus. I think for a lot of people, he was the most entertaining reactor at the time. I would dare say he was the Mr. Beast of reactors. Like,
That was your first?
For me, that was my first. I know there was another guy called, like, Jinx or something like that. Yeah, he was quite controversial himself. Like, because a lot of these reactors watched pretty much everything that was trending, and despite Death Battle Season 2 on the way, the main video that was getting a lot of attraction from these reactors was Goku vs. Superman. And then eventually they would watch those videos, and then one reactor watches it, then another reactor watches it, and it started trending again. I dare say, I feel as though Season 1's views started escalating, or not escalating, but sort of increasing once reactors started getting involved, and eventually they stuck around for Season 2.
I think, though, while yes, there were bigger name reactors capturing on that trend specifically, a lot of people in the community don't really talk about them as much nowadays. Whenever you bring up, like, first reactors to Death Battle, almost everybody agrees that it was Risk Red Star.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I had a feeling one of you guys was going to bring him up. I was just talking about, like, you know, like, reactors just in general that also mixed in Death Battle. There were eventually Death Battle reactors that, I wouldn't say specified they did Death Battle reactions, but Death Battle was kind of their money maker, I guess we'll say.
I mean, with Risk specifically, he was, like, the first one to be properly kind of appreciated by the Death Battle team.
Yeah, and I
From what I remember, yeah.
I even remember, like, when Goku vs. Superman 2 was coming out, they actually did, like, a tribute when they showed the trailer, and they even threw in a lot of reactors in there. There was another guy who was almost on popular, similar to Risk Restar. I'm trying to remember his name. He was kind of like Tyro Magnus, but he was a bit more, like, smaller scale, but eventually he went to college, and I think he got himself a job, so he's doing pretty well, apparently. I'm really annoyed that I can't remember his name.
You know, like, I feel like for a lot of, like, of the community, for them, that's where Newcomers to Death Battle started being appreciated, like, reaction-wise, was...
Yeah.
Risk,
I-
and
yeah.
then...
Yeah. I am still gutted that his Superman or Goku vs. Superman reaction still to this day is blocked by a company that doesn't even
I think
own
it was blocked
Screw-Attack.
by Full Screen at the time.
Yeah, and I don't even know if they're still a thing or if they are. They don't really own the rights to Death Battle anymore, so why the hell can't they lift the copyright? Unless it's just been permanently deleted, which if that's the case, that sucks, because I remember people saying his reaction was great on that, and then, well, I'll never get the chance to, you know, have a taste of that Riz Superman and Goku love.
But obviously, Death Battle has gone on for such a long time. More people have come on, more people stay consistent. And then 2024, I would argue, is when a bigger boom of newcomers started coming around.
Oh yeah.
You could say they came from the VTubers. Yeah, seriously. 2024, a lot of VTubers started getting into Death Battle.
Yep.
I think it wasn't just that as a whole. I think Bowser vs. Eggman as a whole just got a lot of people to check out the show in that year.
Yeah, I will be honest. I feel as if Bowser vs. Eggman didn't come out in that time period. I feel as though Death Battle would have struggled. Like, can you imagine instead of Bowser vs. Eggman, we got the, I don't know, Gru versus Megamind episode in the quality it is, which I do enjoy that episode, but
Ooh.
yeah, I don't think that would have gotten people subscribing.
Yeah, but like,
Well, we still got some bangers. Like, well, as mentioned before, Goku versus Superman.
well, nowadays though, Bowser vs. Eggman is also so important because of it shows that Death Battle was really back for this independent era.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about, like, you know, Death Battle in the Rooster Teeth era, which, you know, while it still did well, people were kind of wondering, oh, without that Rooster Teeth backing, can they thrive? And, well, Bowser vs. Eggman definitely showed that. I guess you could call that the Bowser Eggman era, because that's the one that introduced so many people to it. Which, I know, you know, I was just briefly talking about it, like, I was surprised at how many VTubers to this day are getting introduced to Death Battle through Bowser vs. Eggman, which, again, it's not surprising, because a lot of these VTubers tend to play a lot of those sort of, like, child-friendly looking, like, games, so it's like, okay, it makes sense why Bowser vs. Eggman would, you know, be on their radar. And hell, probably the community definitely helped with that, like, hey, you should react to this, it's a really cool episode. Like, I think
Yeah.
the most iconic one. Well, she became iconic thanks to that Death Battle was Ilara, who, funny enough, would
Yeah,
actually go on to collab with Death Battle in a D&D video.
So
Wait, really?
it
Yeah.
wasn't technically D&D. It was on their Night Brew channel. They did like a
Highly Brew?
Yeah, they did like a card game with Alara as like a special guest or something like that.
I mean,
I didn't know that.
That's still pretty cool though, because I mean, I'm even subscribed to Alara, and not because of her personalities, but because she's actually a really funny VTuber. Like, I've seen a lot of her shorts. Like, her Superboy versus Sentry edit she did at the opening was really great. Like, I'm so scientist myself, releases the fucking void like an idiot. It's like she understands. And I even like the little dig she did to She-Hulk on Dante versus Clive reactions. It's like, damn, Alara, like she pulled no punches.
I think there's also a couple of other things that like why also more VTubers are coming to the Death Battle side. It's just because as much as we give the Death Battle community sometimes, they've pretty much welcomed the VTubers with open arms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is funny because there was a time when people just didn't like VTubers because people called them fake. Which I'm just going to be honest, I feel like it's very hypocritical. It's just like, well, these people aren't fake. It's just unlike us who have our OCs on our profile pictures. These people are actually, well, posing as their OCs. It's like, yeah, they're basically they're basically visual profile pictures.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
And
it's like,
like,
do you know how great it would be if I could have a model of my character that I use for my thumbnails? I mean, it's just a guy with a hood, but it's like, hey, I'd still love to pose like that. It's better than, I mean,
think-
people have already had to witness my gut in one of our openings, so it's like, do you really think I want that on display?
I think also there have been times when Death Battle will do an episode, and like so many other bigger YouTubers, check this out. The biggest example from last year was Ash vs. Yuki. Like, so many Pokemon YouTubers and Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTubers checked out Ash vs. Yuki, even
Yeah.
though they've never seen Death Battle before.
Oh yeah.
I will actually admit, I've actually grown to actually like the song for that fight now. Like, I was in the gym one day, and I had my sound card set to random, and that started playing. I was just like, screw it, I can't be bothered, I'm on treadmill. And I actually started headbanging to it, and I was like, have I been lying to myself? Did I actually
Yes.
like it? Billy Redemption.
We got it, guys.
I've redeemed myself.
Does the episode still place 15th on your list?
I'll give it a 14.
Really?
We tried.
It's gone up by 1 point. Well, just when I was going through redemption.
But no, I think it's really cool to see like this bigger boom happen with newcomers coming in, checking out the show just in general. And Bowser vs. Eggman opened the floodgates for that.
Yeah,
Indeed.
I agree. I think it is crazy though. Like with a lot of these like different communities get involved. Like it really also depends on the characters because let's be real here. Like Fall Guys versus Among Us was not going to attract a lot of people, at least at that time. If that came out maybe during 2020, it probably would have gained a bit more following. But in this day and age, while I do love that episode, it's like, oof, it's a bit late now. Like the hype for these two is, well, there is still a dedicated communities for these games. Let's be real here. How often do we ever hear about Among Us and Fall Guys?
Like all the time.
Really?
Not much anymore. That's a good point.
Yeah. I do feel if it did come out around 2020 though, I feel as though that would have been the Bowser versus Eggman of 2020, like, because everyone was playing Among Us and Fall Guys. Hell, the only major thing about Among Us during 2020 that got a lot of people talking was there was apparently a musical created about it. Don't look it up. It was terrible. So, I think for a lot of people to get introduced to Death Battle, for me, it counts as A, let's be real here, YouTube's algorithm, whether it's going to be generous. B, whether it's going to tackle a character who's really popular, like Bowser and Eggman. And also just the timing of it. Like, if they did a Spider-Man Death Battle, like, I don't know, next month, then you know what? That's going to attract a lot of people, given the latest film that came out.
Or even just a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah. we're gonna get Morbius next year, guys. It's gonna be Morbin time.
Sake.
And unlike the movie, though, it won't suck. Seriously, the only redeemable thing about that movie is Matt Smith dancing. So, yeah, I really feel as though that's when it comes to, like, now, I feel as though we could also tackle, our old topic and see, like, how much has changed, what would we introduce people now. If I was going to introduce anyone to Death Battle, which I can actually use my girlfriend here as an example, she was watching me, well, funny enough, watching, like, Master Chief versus Doomslayer, and she was getting really into it. And we started watching Deadliest Warrior, and I thought, you know what? There's actually a show that's kind of similar to Deadliest Warrior, but with fictional characters. And, she was raising an eyebrow, like, okay. And the first episode I showed her was, well, Sonic vs. Mario. The second one, not the first one.
Yeah, the Death Battle is pretty much took inspiration from Deadliest Warrior.
Yeah, so I feel as though, like, hey, you know what, she likes a show similar to this. Why not introduce her to one where she's into anime and that sort of thing? So I was like, oh, you know what, we went to see the Sonic movie together, so hey, why not introduce her to a Sonic episode? She was sad over the result. Yeah, I did introduce her to Mario Party, though, after that, and Jesus Christ, Bernie is evil. It's always the short ones. There was actually one point, like, we were playing Mario Party together with my family. My family had, like, 3 or 4 stars. I had 1. Bernie had 3, and she stole my 1 star. I'm like, Bernie, I have nothing. She literally done it just for me to suffer. It was like, why? Mario Party nearly broke a relationship.
Dude, imagine if she said to you in that moment, imagine being in last with 0 stars.
She's not that cultured, sadly. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, my thought process of introducing Bernie to Death Battle is like, right, she likes the movie of Sonic, like, and there are shadow episodes, but I'm like, I feel like I've got to show her a high quality Death Battle just so she could be a bit kinder to later films or later episodes. So I feel like showing Sonic versus Mario from 2012 was a little. It's like, I don't think she'll. Yeah, I feel she's not into sprite animation. At least she wasn't back then. So it's like, yeah, I don't think she'll actually forgive it or be more generous. So I thought, right, the hand-drawn stuff makes sense. So it's like, hey, there was a Sonic and Mario rematch. I'll show her that. She fell in love with it. So it's like, okay, there you are. My sister, on the other hand, she's a big anime fan. She's only just gotten into Chainsaw Man. And she's been a big Jujutsu Kaisen fan, even longer than me. I only discovered that this year. I was like, there is a Death Battle where they tackle these 2 characters. So it's like, I think for me, if I was to introduce people to Death Battle now, I need to know what they like and feel like, does Death Battle have an episode? I mean, I'm never going to find anyone currently who's into Bionicles.
I think that's a good MO to have when you want to introduce somebody to the show. Like, know their interest and see if there's an episode that shows off that interest in a positive kind of light.
Yeah, like Bernie doesn't like Batman. Oh, she was so close to being perfect. So imagine if I went to her, hey Bernie, do you want to watch Batman versus Black Panther? She doesn't like Black Panther either. She would have been like, no. So,
yes,
so I feel also find an interest is the key factor. Death Battle has so many episodes. You don't want to start off with the first season because the first season is really rough.
Yeah, that's actually how I wanted to introduce my dad. Rest in peace, awesome dad. I wanted to introduce him to my former number 1 favorite, Godzilla vs. Gamera, because of how much of a fan he is of Godzilla. And unfortunately, the video just couldn't run, so we just abandoned it, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear.
I can understand wanting to show your family like an episode of Death Battle based off, like, again, common interests that they have with characters that have been on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like trying to introduce a lot of people who aren't online to Death Battle is very difficult because as much as we are generous with Death Battle, because you know, YouTube is kind of like a place where indie people would like have creative minds, and you just kind of got to forgive them for not having the complete quality. Like for instance, like the Amazing Digital Circus isn't amazing in terms of animation storytelling. We won't get something like that for a long time, because that was with people with a lot of merchandise to sell, a really good pilot, and just a lot of dedication. YouTube is a place where it's like you can still have that, but the quality might not reach that certain level. So, for instance, if you showed someone, let's say, The Odyssey, and then you showed them Hercules versus Sun Wukong, it's like, it's not so cinematic when you compare it to, you know, movies, but it's like, it's still worth watching. Because, I feel as though people who aren't on YouTube as much as we are, I don't think are as forgiving to, like, indie projects like Death Battle. I hope I'm wrong about that, like, you know, I just don't see it as, like, a possibility.
I mean, I've at least got people I work with, like, interested in, like, hearing about it.
Yeah, I've done the same in my workplace, but... Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, like we've been saying, my basic method is just basically just being like, what's like a franchise that you're really into, and depending on like what they say, I'll just quickly think about the episodes and be like, okay, what's one to recommend here? Because I will also admit, a lot of people I work with are kind of pop culture illiterate. Like, hell, one of the managers I work with, he asked me if Stitch is a Pokemon. That should tell you everything alone.
Damn.
I mean, I will say, if he was in Power World, he would be catchable. Just saying.
You want Power World to get a Disney lawsuit as well?
I mean, who knows? They could do a collab with them. I mean, they got Terrier and Ultra Kill to do a collab.
Okay, collab, sure.
I mean, considering how much Power World kicked Nintendo's ass in the last lawsuit.
Actually, can you imagine if Power World actually did like an Avengers sort of collab? Imagine that you could catch Captain America or Iron Man and then just equip them with AK-47s. Can you imagine?
That'd be the dumbest shit ever.
I mean, I'd play them again. It's like, you've already bought a game. I'll create another account and buy it again. Yeah. I mean, that kind of goes into like what I was saying before, where it's like trying to get people outside of like internet culture, which credit to those people, you don't have to live with the toxicity. It's like, I think it's harder to introduce them to Death Battle and make them newcomers, because I don't know, I guess like offline sort of quality is a bit different from like media quality. Like, for instance, let's say you go to watch a Spider-Man film and you kind of got it in the quality of Death Battle. It's like, I'm not sure if this is going to hook people in, even if the animation's pretty good for a sprite animation.
When you say that, I remember one of my old workplaces, quite a few people got like really mad at the result of a Death Battle I told them about.
Which one was that?
Terminator versus RoboCop.
I actually kind of wonder who would win these days.
Like, they always cite the scene where RoboCop like gets taken apart, and I'm just like, yeah, and Terminator got obliterated by a homemade pipe bomb.
Yeah. You got another poll for people, like, hey, if they did RoboCop versus the Terminator now, would it would it end the same way? I'm not gonna make.
I think so.
I'm not gonna make that a reoccurring thing where, you know, people are. To say whether a Death Battle would end the same way now. It's just, you know, just generally interested, because these are older sort of episodes. Yeah. So, I mean, is there any more you guys want to add for it, or should we wrap up this segment with our final thoughts? And I'm not just saying that because my belly was just rumbling.
I mean, I feel like we've really said everything that needs to be said. Like, if you're trying to recommend Death Battle to somebody, just find out what they're interested in first, and like, find an episode that has like a good sort of quality to it.
Right. I 100% agree.
Like, for example, if they say they're into Pokemon, show them episodes like, say, Goro versus Machamp or Ash versus Yugi, not, say, Charizard versus Greymon or Pikachu versus Blanca.
Yeah, because I don't think they'll forgive the quality as much, whereas like those episodes, there's a lot of quality in it, even if it might not reach pop culture standard, I guess we'll say. I guess that's honestly there's nothing more we can really say about it. I think that's how people should view it. It's like, you know what, like introduce people to Death Battle, show them the high quality episodes, and just let them go at their own accord, and whether they want to, you know, invest a bit more.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like I mean, for us, we make videos on Death Battle, so obviously we kind of have to be into the series. If you know the latest episode, like if we only did Death Battle episodes where it's only with characters we are interested in or we know of, we probably wouldn't have recorded the last few episodes. So yeah, I feel as though like for a lot of casual people online, casual people offline, if they're to become newcomers, it really depends on the algorithm, what they're into, and just all the other points we brought up.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, yeah, if there's nothing more to say, I guess we'll wrap up this session with, first of all, we'll thank Fireball for joining us for another episode of, well, not just Lads content, Lads Discuss Death Battle. And what do you guys think about the previous episode? What do you think of the next time? And, you know, if you were to introduce people to Death Battle, what would it be? And what's your opinion on the newcomers that have come about thanks to Death Battle? Let us know in the comments down below, and be sure to share the video around, keep the channel growing. As for you, Fireball, I am going to send you outside. Like, just get out.